So I think we are going to continue from where we left last time. So during session number 1 and 2, we were focusing on the your to just self-awareness, and just for you to understand yourself, and that will also lead in you understanding your leadership style, and then you develop your leadership style. I think I also mentioned again that the moment you are aware of how you for example, you record yourself speaking, you hear how you speak, you're able to adjust yourself and position yourself better. So self-awareness is very critical in terms of leadership development. All right. So and also last time we were I was still waiting for your results for the strength finder. Some of you, I think by now most of you have done the test. Right, so I'm gonna ask you to give me the results, because I just want to populate this thing so that I see where we are. I'm gonna sort of present so that you see what I am working on. All right, so this is I've not yet populated. So what you are seeing is not the true whatever. I've not yet done that. So if you can just call, let me know which were your strengths. I'll start with Lungi. Which were your 5 top strengths?
Hi, Taka. I'm still trying to pull my results. Just give me, or maybe we can move on to
All right.
the next
Okay,
person.
that's great. Maybe let's go to whoever is ready. Who is ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Let's go for it. Give me your strengths.
Okay. My top 5 strength was number 1 was self-assurance.
Okay, let me look for it. Self-assurance is there. So I'm going to put in X, right? And the next one,
Strategic.
strategic's down there. There. The next one,
Learner.
so where is it? Oh, it's next to strategic. Okay, great. The next one,
Developer.
DT.
It's under relationship.
Relationship. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay.
And lastly, responsibility.
Responsibility. Okay, it's on the executing. All right.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So you are quite strong in strategic, apparently, and you are well balanced as well. Okay. Next, if you've got your results, whoever is ready.
Okay. My first one was strategic.
Strategy, that's Soleka, strategy, and next.
Responsibility.
Responsibility, see here. Next.
Arranger.
Arrange up here. Okay. The next.
I think you placed an
Learner.
achiever.
Oh, sorry. Yes, thanks. Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for noting that. Yeah, right. I've corrected that. Next, Soleka.
Learner.
So you're the same down here. Okay. Next.
And then self-assurance.
Self-assurance. Okay, so you're a bit of an influencer as well. You've got it to influence people. All right, thanks, Solek. Next.
Okay. I'll go.
All right, you can
Strategic,
go.
analytical,
All right, just hold on. It's Sonia, eh? Strategic,
analytical,
right?
analytical,
Next, analytical. It's also under strategic. Yes. Next,
adaptability,
the ability is relations. Oh yeah. Okay, makes sense. Next,
activator,
activator. Yeah.
and
Okay.
responsibility.
And responsibility. Okay, you're also well balanced, apparently. Oh, okay. The most balanced person. You're all just like I think Bosco as well. Okay. And the next person.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, that's
The
Lundi.
first one, yeah, the first one is achiever.
Achiever. Okay. And next.
And then learner. That's the second one.
Lena. All right. Next.
The third one is futuristic. Futuristic, yes.
Futuristic. It's under strategic. Yes. Next.
And then deliberative.
Deliberate. Let me see. It's up here. All right. The next.
And then the last one is significance. Under influence.
Influence. All right. So also an influence. All right. That's great. Thanks. And then lastly, Fiona.
Like I said, my results I couldn't even see, but I did my own my own strengths, and I did the SWOT on my own.
All right. Fiona, this is from the Gallup Strength Finder.
Okay. Now I see. Yeah. Now
Yes.
for me, the first one was discipline.
Discipline. All right. Just give
Discipline,
me a second. Yeah, it's up here. Right. And next one.
Discipline, self-assurance.
Self-assurance.
Okay. Adaptability.
Adaptability. Give me a second. Where is it?
And
it's
then
A.
a learner.
Okay, there. Yeah,
and
there.
a learner.
And Lena as well. Okay, we've got Lena's in here. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one more. Yeah.
With the
1, 2, 3, 4.
the relationship one.
Relationship.
The developer.
Okay, develop.
I had adaptability.
Yes,
I
adaptability.
Yeah, which one is missing? No,
I don't have developer. I've got adaptability, self-assurance,
yes,
discipline, and learner.
Yes, all of them.
Are they 5? 1, 2, 3. No, there's
5.
one that is
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's one missing.
I had self-assurance, I had discipline, I had learner, adaptability.
Which one am I missing? All right. Can you call them again? Sorry for that. Can you call them again?
That's discipline.
Got that.
Discipline, self-assurance.
Got that.
Adaptability.
I've got that.
And learner.
So it's only 4. They're supposed to be 5.
I see self-assurance is responsibility, learner,
you also have responsibility.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we missed that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they are now 5. Okay, that's great. So now I just want to do a bit of calculations. I just want to check, maybe let me do one by one. Here, I've got one achiever, and this is 0, 0, and the next you've got one deliberate, and then we've got one discipline, one focus, and then we've got 4 responsibilities, right? And then one activator, and then from there we've got one maximizer, and then here we've got quite a lot, 4 self-assurance. Yeah. And then next to the 2 significant, right? That's quite interesting. Then I've got 2 adaptability. I've got 1 developer, and this is 0, 0 all the way, zeros here. Then under strategic, got 1 analytic, and then futuristic, there is 2 futuristic. This is 0, this is 0, and then you've got a lot of learners, 4, and then you've got 3. Right. So let me just see per category. What do we have? Let's start from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 4, 9. Right, 9. And then the next category, we've got 1, 2, 4, 8. Oh, it's quite strong here. Interesting group. And then here we only have 3. Yeah. And then here we've got, sorry, let's just count them. 1, 3, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10. All right. So let me just double check again. 5, 8, 9, and 3, 12 plus 8, 10, and 20 plus, yeah. All right. So this is our profile in terms of what we are strong in. I think I like this group. Because usually you find a lot of executing and then strategic in the middle, there's nothing. But this group, we are also strong in the middle, which is good, with a bit of influencers as well. But we are lacking a relationship side of it. We're a bit lacking under there. But we are quite well distributed, right? So let's assume this is a board, right? So if we are going to recruit someone, we're going to want someone who is going to give us maybe 2 points under relationship so that we grow more under there, so that we sort of balance. So which means we need someone who is around adaptability, developer, connectedness, empathy, harmony, includer, someone with all those qualities, right? Okay, so this is who we are, right? Okay, so I'm not sure if there's any comments on this and other tests that you have been doing. Anyone want to give feedback? Maybe let me just put on the slides so that we see.
I still, I do have an actual question about myself that I haven't figured out. I do find the Myers-Briggs or the 16 personalities INTJ very, very helpful, and it's very spot on. But,
oh, really?
But it does challenge me because of being so analytical and basically a STEM person. It has created a very weak influencing capability in me. I'm weak on selling, I'm weak on influencing, I'm weak on charm. The stuff that seems to be essential for networking, essential for relationships.
Yeah, yes.
Are the superpowers I'm the lowest on. So I would appreciate how to take those weaknesses and expand on them from a career perspective. And I'm happy to get some guidance on that. And I'm not talking about psychological guidance. I want practical guidance. Things don't come with the fluffy stuff to me. Practical guidance as a person that is very science orientated, that has a scientific approach to everything. Think Sheldon of the Big Bang Theory. You know Sheldon? Think of if you had to take that tall, awkward person and teach them to be more influential. That kind of thing. I would appreciate some guiding material to read, and besides the Bible, I do read the Bible, but practically, I think it should be a better influencer.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
funny.
because
I
you
feel
need
like that
some
personality.
tips.
Yes, I feel like that personality is actually not great for relationship building within a management environment, as if it would only suit better someone that was maybe in a laboratory hidden away from the world. So I don't know if my personality is not a good fit for directorship or management. I'd appreciate some guidance there.
All right. Yeah, Sonia, I understand you, because also myself, I have similar challenges in certain areas where I am not so strong. And now, how do I sort of work around that so that it does not become a disadvantage? I'm not going to give you, the tips that are sort of practical. So what maybe my advice, I like the idea that we now have a chat GPT. It can tell you stuff. It has told me stuff that are very hard, but yeah, it was real. I could see now this thing is really telling me how to do. So you can also use that, say that this is my profile. I want to network, but I've got this and that and that. How can I do it? It's going to give you some bit of a tips how to sort of do that. For example, I myself, I'm an introvert, right? I don't, unlike what people think, because I've learned to work around it. So people think I'm extroverted. They see me online. They see me writing books. What they think, this guy is babbling. Not at all. So the way I compensate that is to do it online now. So it's not word to word. If you say you want to see me, that's not my my number one prior, no, whatever choice, kind of, And if I see you, I'm going to time box you. So in other words, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and we need to finish it up and then I go, because I'm an introvert. So so the tips from my side, the way I
Taka,
do
you
it.
must ask. That's hilarious. You must ask Peter. I did exactly that with him today. Exactly. If people talk too much for too long, I time box. That's me. I feel like I'm talking to my listening to my twin here. Sorry.
So what I do, I time box it. But once in a while, I find someone who I connect like unbelievable. And there are few people like that, And those ones who talk before hours have gone. But in general, majority of the people, I just want to engage with you. So, and also I think about the conversation before I even meet you. What are we going to discuss? And so that when I'm there, it's easy to pull the information and, in my own words, impress you. And then I leave before before I go on the other side. So this is sort of how I do it. So yourself, you've got your profile. Ask ChatGPT, try to Google as well to see, because there's also a lot of content online as well around like my profile. I see how others are doing, and then sometimes I smile because I could see, oh, exactly, this is how they feel, and then they start to give advice in terms of how do you do these things. Like, for example, if you invite me for a party, yeah, that's not my first thing that I would want to do, but I have to go. But when I go, how do I engage in the party so that it doesn't drain me and take me on the other side? So I manage the process, and during a party, let's say the function, usually I engage with few people, but in a deep way. So I just maybe a party full of people. I don't try to talk to everybody because I will get depleted and, so I find maybe one or two people who I engage with deeply, and then that's it. That's how I network. The next time again, I choose one or two people and I do again. So my circle is as well as my personality as well. I because I don't want to talk to a lot of people. There are fewer people who are closer to me and they're deeper. That's how sort of I relate. So also your profiles as well. Understand your profile, how you engage, how you network, and then start to, develop in that area, right? I hope this helps. Right, I don't see
Yes,
any.
it does help, Taka.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, thank you
yes.
for sharing.
Yeah, and also as an introvert as well, I think a long time ago I was studying around it, because I'm very good at analyzing and processing information. As you talk, giving inputs, I can summarize everything that you have said. So what I do, I usually wait, when people are engaging, people are putting ideas, then at the end, I usually want to speak like one of the last people. But when I speak, I summarize and connect what everyone has said. And people are going to say, wow, you should have spoken right from the beginning. No, 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 no. I was just listening to you and, processing what you are giving in. And then now I just come and sort of conclude everything and say, what is the way forward and so forth. So try also to understand how you engage from a different sort of personality. Some of you, I think Lund is more extrovert. I think, I'm not sure, but you bubble up, you talk. So each personality, there are the pros and cons, right? What are the positive? What are the negative? So you need to know them and manage them as well. All right.
So, may I add something, or was I put my hand up? My apologies.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the key characteristics in ourselves that I find from young at schools, they don't teach you to work on, is your weaknesses. So as an example, we know a lot more now about how to teach kids how to manage their stress. Whereas, we just kind of grew up and we had to learn to manage it ourselves. So the way that we process stress and pressure was probably one of the biggest challenges for people's emotional well-being, as well as their ability to perform for long periods. And that's probably one of the most underrated areas for training that we still have, especially for leaders. You're told to be resilient. Okay, how? We get tired, we get overwhelmed, we get this, we get that. So dealing with pressure and stress and fatigue, because a lot of people go on like we should have eternal energy. And I've learned to take a 15-minute nap here or there. I got home, I stopped my car, closed my eyes 15 minutes just to restore. I was exhausted.
Yes.
Things like that. So we often focus on our capabilities, but our weaknesses on how to manage and live with them is also something that is not quite as strongly understood.
Yes, Fiona, I see she's giving a thumbs up because when we were starting, when we joined, we were talking about that nap as well. I discovered this later in my life. I think, just around when I was around 40, just above 40, around 40, at work, that if I take a nap during lunchtime, when I come back at 2 o'clock, it's like a fresh new day for me. It was like revolutionary for me because after lunch, I'm coming, I'm smiling, and everyone is like, oh, sad and so forth. So for me, it was like a discovery for me. So every lunch, I just take a 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes nap, and then I get recharged. And then I can go the rest of the day, with strength. So Sonia, what you have said is correct. So you need to see how to manage, especially for directors, to manage your energy levels throughout the day. Some of you, I'm going to mention it a bit later on, you might need to take vitamin supplements, depending on who, of your age and you just understand yourself. That's special part of self-awareness. You might need to take your extra vitamins just to make sure that you've got that energy even at the end of the day, because the risk of not doing that is that You're going to attend a board meeting late, you are tired, and you're going to make critical decisions, and you are going to make emotional decisions, and those are the wrong decisions. So you need to be on top of the ball all the time. And then, which means you need to manage your emotions, your energy throughout the day. And no usual for myself, if I'm feeling that I'm tired, I postpone all the major decisions. I just say, no, we'll look at it tomorrow, because I don't want to make a decision in my tiredness, and then it turned out to be the wrong decision. So you need to manage your energy level. Thanks, Sonia, for that. All right. But we will talk about it. I think when we are in session number 9, going forward, we're going to touch around that, how to manage that as you go, so that you are on top of the ball, on top of the situation, you are sharp throughout, I don't want to say a lot, but yeah, I think that's all for now. Right. So let's move on to session number 3. Right. Just to give a bit of a background, just to see where we are. The first 2 sessions, we were looking at self-awareness, but now we are going to move now. What you have compiled, keep it, keep all the information and keep updating it, keep revisiting it as we go. So don't just throw it away, but just revisit once in a while and just look what has changed as you go on. So today we are now moving on to, just to give you where we are. We finished session 1 and 2. Now we are now moving on to session 3, where we are now looking at the foundation of governance. This is sort of where we are starting from, right? So this is just show the roadmap, right, until the end, right? But before I go into there, I just want to show you a video. Maybe let me do that. Okay, let me show you a video. It's a bit sarcastic, so we're on information, so some of you might feel a bit offended around it. But I'm going to show you that video, right? This video, it's the idea around it. It's about why self-awareness is important, to know, what's happening around you. So this video is one of my favorite shows. It's KBO Enthusiasm by Laurie. I like him, his jokes and so forth. So this is where Laurie is here sitting. I think you can see he's sitting there. This is a chiropractic. And he's at the reception. He's going to go in to see the doctor. I'm going to cut the video because it's going to go to another theme, So before it goes, I'm going to cut. But let's just look what's happening. And you're going to see he's going to ask some question. Why is this place deserted? Why are people not coming? But I think as you look at the video, you're going to see the reason why people are not coming. And mind you, this this doctor is based in Hollywood. So yeah, all right, let's just watch the video.
How's business here?
Business is good.
There's no people here.
Well, the doctor likes to space out the appointments so that everybody gets a good amount of time with him.
What's the last thing you bought that changed your life? That's a question in his magazine.
I don't know.
The juicy tomato. Just because Tom Brady avoids them.
I think he's ready for you. You can just go right in.
Okay.
Well, great news, my friend. As expected, you are going to live. You have a quadratus strain, which can be explained by the fact that you lifted something heavy, which you cannot do.
What was I supposed to do? She was this frail woman.
Well, I completely understand that. If it were me, I wouldn't have done it, but that's because I lost chivalry after the divorce.
Why? What do you mean?
My wife cheated on me.
Really?
Yeah, 3 times.
So you're leading the single life now?
I'm leading the single life. Couldn't be happier.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Sure, anything.
How come there's nobody in your waiting room?
Oh, well, you know what? I like to space them out. Privacy. You know, you got some high-profile people in here, like you or Harrison Ford.
Oh, Harrison Ford is a patient?
No, it was a hypothetical. If Harrison Ford were a patient, I would tell you he's incredibly lovely. Bit of a curmudgeon sometimes.
So
but
he's a patient, Harrison
Nope,
Ford.
didn't say that. I would assume based on interviews I've seen.
No,
with
you
him.
just
Very
told
rough
me.
guy.
You
No,
just
no,
told
no.
me he's a patient.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I never said I seen my patient Harrison Ford after his last plane crash.
Okay.
Well, why don't I get you set up with a foam roller?
Foam roller.
Very easy to use. I'm gonna give you
You want me to roll?
I just want you to roll on it.
Okay.
Very easily.
Okay.
Elizabeth at the front desk. Oh, we'll walk you through how to use it. Self-explanatory. It should be pretty simple, but we will give you a document with some illustrations on it to walk you through it as well. Okay, Larry? And then I'm gonna write you a prescription. How do you do with anti-inflammatories? I know as a Jew, I get a little rumbly in my tumbly.
I do okay.
That's why I never became a basketball player. Oh. I will see you back here in a couple of days, and you, my friend, should be feeling as good as new.
Okay. And I get a glimpse of his underwear. It was completely frayed, like loose violin strings and holes in it. It was like the underwear had been to war.
I don't know why you didn't run out.
Hey, you're not gonna run. That's rude. You know what? My back actually feels a little better.
It does?
Yeah.
I don't care. I will never be going back to him.
Really?
I am done.
Hey, you know what?
What?
Maybe that's why there's nobody in his waiting room.
Oh.
Look at this. Look at this.
All right.
All right. So we, I hope you saw there is no one in the waiting room, right? Okay. So the issue was about the underwear that was driving people away, but himself, he's not aware of that. So he's
Taka, I'm not sure if it's just me, but you're a little bit faint.
Just
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Sorry for that. Right. I was just saying that he was wondering why are people not coming to his practice, but the issue was the underwear, which was not, which was not, which was very bad anyway. So I think the idea here is just the issue about self-awareness, that he is definitely not aware. Why are people not coming to his practice? Why doesn't he has customers, you know? But yeah, so it's good to maybe take a retrospective just to check, just to, just give me a second. Having a technical challenge. And just give me a second. Right, I think it's now. I think it's now on. All right. So that video was just, if that sometimes you have challenges and you wonder why, people don't like me, or why are they not choosing me, but there may be some issues with you that you are not aware of. So that you may face, you need to first address those issues, and then things will get better from there. So today, I just want to do an introduction to corporate governance. So I'm not going to finish this session. We'll finish next time because it's quite a lot of content, as you're going to see, but we'll sort of continue as we go. So what we have done, just for your own information, these sessions are not made, they're not equal in size, because some topics are large, some are shorter, but we'll try, if we don't finish, we just continue as we go. But we usually catch up towards, as we go towards, I think session 8 or so, they are shorter, the last ones, and then we'll catch up. So this is what we want to cover. What is corporate governance? So why corporate governance matters, right? Types of business entities, directors and their responsibility, and then functions of the board. So this is sort of what we want to cover, right? But the question that we want to start to sort of think around, why good corporate governance matter, right? And I'm going to give a South African context. I think most of you are going to identify with what is happening. Even Bosco, I know you are not in South Africa, but you're going to see that some of these things are also happening actually in your country and in many countries as well. And then we're going to spin as well. And then I'm going to give you another example again, which is Africa-wide in terms of why good corporate governance matter. But now let's start from a South African context. We have seen this in the media, the state capture. A lot of money was lost, it was siphoned out of the country. Basically, the whole country, the government was controlled by a family. It says two brothers. They were running the whole country. They captured every tender, everything that was happening. They were the one who were authorizing. Actually, they go to it, all the contracts are going to their company. That's how bad it was. And this was not just small monies. No, these were big monies. Trillions of rands were going into these families. They just found a way of threatening people. And then from there, they just capture everything. So it was very terrible. A lot of money was wasted. But not only did we lose money through state capture, the Zondo Commission trying to understand it. We spent also a lot of money around this, also in millions trying to have this commission, understanding and testifying. The reports are big, thick volumes. But what makes me sad, how many people were arrested? Nobody was arrested that I know. Actually, that family, they're somewhere there in Dubai. They're enjoying their life and actually enjoying our money. And this is why we say good corporate governance matter. This is another example. Got this image a few years ago. This one is on and off in the media. We don't know what's happening. And the board was fired, another one appointed, and so forth. We know this scandal. This one as well is also linked to state capture as well. It was part of the state capture. So our arms company, was controlled by that family. That's how bad it was. And there's and the far right, how the structuring that was done, is they control, the arms company of this country. So probably they were actually, controlling the whole military for that case. This is another example at the South African Airways. Last year, I was surprised that they made a profit. This year, I heard that they are not making a profit anymore. So someone drew a cartoon on the far right saying that perhaps they should split it into three, three companies as indicated there, as a job. But it's people's money that is being wasted. And for what? You wonder. And if you compare with Ethiopian Airlines, if you, I think you know about it, the Ethiopian Airlines has been it has got awards. I think for the past 3 years, it is the best airline in Africa. It is making a profit. It's a government company, but it makes money, profit for the Ethiopian government. So, why does our government airline doesn't make money? Actually, use our money, and for what? We don't really know. This is something that is dear for us. We will never forget. When Sonia say was there load shedding, this is what she's afraid of. Because it left it traumatized us. For years. Power is cutting in the middle of it. Is just crazy. The whole country was on its knees. Business was interrupted. Everything was just not going the way we wanted. And businesses, we lost a lot of business. Because the factories that use power couldn't operate. So a lot of people were retrenched. The economy was suffering. But why? It was just because a few people just thought of just cutting corners, get a bit of money, and then they can go and spend it to buy, have fun and do whatever they want. And what about people who were dying, like hospitals couldn't operate, or work function well because of no power? People were dying, and someone is taking advantage of that so that he can take your kids to Disney. And I don't think it's fair, and I think it's evil to look at it, that you want to benefit at the expense of people's lives. And not only are these people that they are struggling. So people are doing this. These are not people who are struggling. No, these are the highly paid people. They are not. They don't need the money. Not that they don't need the money. They don't. They have enough money. But why do you want to keep on having more and more and more, and we forget about everyone else? And here is a cartoon that was drawn that was the demand that we have as a nation, but that was the supply that was being provided by ESCOM. This is another one. It's on and off in the media about so many. The stories never end about the scandals there. And someone was saying in this cartoon, why don't they put the PTOs, Prasa so that they can collect? Someone was joking around it. And this is the sister company, Transnet, as well. It seems to be doing well, but yeah, there's also a lot of issue. One of my good sort of friend, they would not want to sit on the board a few years back. If you think it's only in government, you are not, it's happening in the private sector. So this is one of the biggest scandal, especially in the private sector, that has ever been. When one man took over the whole company. He was the CEO. He was so clever. I think he was, I always say, no, I think this is like a sociopath or whatever, those characters, people who can study you and know you and go and use you without you knowing that you are being used. Because when you watch, there's a documentary that is there that is called Stainhead. It was on Showmax. If you watch that documentary, this guy has the ability to control the board. The board is supposed to control him in normal, governance structures. But he was able to control the board. He was able to determine who will be appointed on the board. That's how he was in terms of his character. He was very, very can manipulate things to the point that all the books were fake. The whole thing was fake right from the beginning. And he had good reason about why. For example, some of the things, if you watch the documentary, you will change the financial statements. Let's say, because you want to hide some things. You say, no, our financial year has changed. We were reporting, let's say, from March ending in February, right? Then you say, no, we are going to change it. And you give reason why we're going to change it. So because of that, you can't compare the previous financial with this new financial because the financial years has changed, isn't it? Then the following year, he's going to say, no, we are changing. We are no longer reporting in rand. We are now reporting, was it in US dollar or euro? And because of that, you can't compare the 3 consecutive financial years. So you keep on changing and changing. At the end, but now the share price was increasing because he's going to report that we've done this, we've acquired this, we are doing this, but everything was a fake. And then eventually it collapsed. And unfortunately, later on, he had to take his life. A lot of people lost their money, their pension fund, Pepco. If you know that company is a family, not family, it's a worker, relationship sort of company. They actually lost a lot because you approach them and you say, no, can you buy? Because it's very clever. He knows that your business is good value. His is just paper money. Then you go there and say, no, let's swap, and then he, impress you. Then at the end, you end up getting these useless shares that are fake, but the whole thing collapsed, and a lot of people lost their livelihoods. This is sort of a lot of headlines that are in the media in terms of what's happening, a lot of scandals. This is another one, how to steal a bank. Basically, they took over a bank. During those years, I remember someone coming to me and saying, no, Taka, get a bond. They will approve it. They won't even look at anything because a lot of things was happening. They managed to took over and run a bank and run it empty. That's basically what they did. This is another one also now back in the media. I was reading last week. It's now coming back apparently about the no, not this one. Yeah, no, this one is EOH. Yeah, this one, it came in. It's a private company. It's listed. They went in bed with the wrong people. It's indicated, I think, on the left side. You can see there are people who are now in there, and a lot of deals were done which were very bad. And then by the time it come out, they to sweep the house, they clean everything. And remember, the new management had to disclose, and because they need to gain confidence. They had to tell people what happened and what is happening. Try to untangle themselves, and eventually, they managed to get out of all this situation. This one is that one that I say is now in the media back again. It's a very serious, and I can see that things are going to be bad from the way people are saying. It was in the media, but now it's back again. Now, the issue is that our sugar, it's more expensive to make than from outside. So this is now the situation, and a lot of employees' lives are at stake. So what do we do? It's better to bring in sugar from which country are we? I think it's from Brazil. It will be much cheaper than to grow our own. And now, what are we going to do with that? So, but a few years back, it was the executives who were involved in some of the deals that were there. This is our government, the AG's report, Auditor's General's report, where it was showing irregular expenditure up to 260 billion. That is in 2021. So this has been growing bigger by the year. A lot of money that is being wasted in government through irregular expenditure and wasteful expenditure. It's a lot of money. When I look at this money, I've been involved in human settlements. I'll be counting how many houses can we, low-cost houses can you build? Because each house is going to be 100 or 200,000 each. So what opportunity have we lost? We've got informal settlements around us, but now all this money is going into people's pockets. This is another set of headings, again, about corruption. This is a lineup, and this now exposes even our auditors as well. You can see KPMG is there, and also, big, good companies, they also get implicated, because you wonder, are these companies really auditing our organization? And why is it, you've got a lot of questions, in the process of auditing. Why do you give a clean audit and next day the company is closing? You wonder what has just happened in there. Recently, it has been the issue of qualifications. Senior officials that are having fake qualifications. And this is not just in government only, this is all over, and you wonder, people are just buying degrees in Pick and Pay kind of situation. And there's a list of some of the prominent people, very in very big, positions. You can see it's quite, from different companies, even in private sector. They've got these PhDs that are fake, and some of them you wonder, for 10 years you've got a fake PhD. Why don't you just go use the money you are getting from the fake PhD to go and actually do the real PhD? You wonder that, but all this is starting to come out, and I think it also shows why good corporate governance is very, very important. And the NSFAS board, I think we've seen about it, and someone say from NSFAS yesterday, so NSFAS is useless. For the sake of those who are not aware, NSFAS is the National Students Fund. It's supposed to fund students who are studying, but yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening there that are unbelievable in terms of the money there, and how students are not getting the money, but the money is being spent. So you wonder, where is the money going if there's so much expenditure and the students are saying they're not getting the money? So that you can, and this one also added these few slides just to show you what is happening in South Africa. These images, maybe just to give you a background, a few years ago, I think in just before COVID, in 2018, yes, 18, I worked on a schools project in Eastern Cape, where we were building schools so actually these were prefabricated or modularized sort of, so they would just come and set up on site. So what we did we had to select which schools, start with the West. So the images that we had, I couldn't find the actual image. One of the I think there are two that really made me almost cry to wonder that this is not it. So I also went on and just tried pictures of some of the schools in Eastern Cape. So this is real. This is happening. Look at the schools which these kids are attending. It's very, very bad. Look at the one on the right side. You can see they had, that's the school in which they are attending. It's very, very, very sad, and these are the teachers standing there. And I was saying, no, these teachers, they are not here for, I don't think they're here for money. They're just here to make a difference because, there are better opportunities. And and what's surprised or what makes me sad is to go to Senten, what's happening there, and you look at this, you think it's two different countries, but it's the same country. Actually, when I showed, I think in another forum, these pictures to some of the audience, one of the ladies stood up and said, this is not South Africa at all. They don't believe it exists because where they come from, it's not like this. Yes, it's existing in South Africa. It's still existing, although we've got all these places that are in a different, maybe first world areas that are in first world, but some of the areas are very, very poor. Actually, for your own information, I also did another schools project way back, I think 2009. That was Northwest. But that one we were just assessing schools. So one of the schools, it was really sad because in my life I had never seen the bucket system. I've heard about it, that it exists, but at this school I saw it. People using buckets as for toilets. I think this brings us to the next image. So it was very sad for me that this is actually how it works. It is very bad for a school. And these are more pictures as well. This is still Eastern Cape. You can see the one on top left. This is a bathroom, one for boys, one for girls. And on top one, you can see this is a classroom. And then the bottom one, these are kids, primary school kids who are getting into a classroom. And you wonder, where are the leaders and how are we governing? And now you see people in these committees, that are saying, you wonder, but, what are we doing to our country? It seems these things are man-made, by people who are greedy, who just want to have more and more and more, and they don't care what happened to the rest of the people. And this is why we need good governance. We need to make a difference. It's not expensive to, these are toilets. They just need, to just, and remember this is for a school. So I don't know how many boys use that one. That was for boys, the other one for girls. How many get into there? So anyway, I've lost, run out of words, but we need good corporate governance. And if you look at some of the organizations that I've cited, you see there were lack of ethics, issues to do with compliance. The board was not competent. A few years back, we had a board in this country in which it's a government-related organization, which I heard that one of the board members was a DJ. So you wonder what is being a DJ has to do with someone becoming a board member. So you wonder the competence of people who are on our board. It leaves a lot to be desired. You find a dominant CEO or chairperson who wants to run the whole show for themselves. Lack of independence, you find that they trade with their companies in the same organization. Conflict of interest, accuracy of records. Some of the reports that we receive, even in boards, I think I wrote an article this week about the records that come, the reports that come to the board. Are they accurate? Is this the true reflection of what's happening in the organization? Legal duties, whistleblowers, this is now a big thing again. I think I read today in the news that we are trying to bring in a law to cover whistleblowers because people are not speaking because they're afraid of their lives. If you speak, you die. So we need to protect whistleblowers. Either I've got a friend of mine who also whistleblow, but they just let him go from the organization because he's trying to say, no, there's something not right with this, but they let him go. You'll be victimized, and if you continue, they may even kill you. Last month, a lady was killed again for doing what is right. That's why we need people like you, so that we have good corporate governance. We need to change what we have in our country, actually in our continent, right? So this is why good corporate governance matter. Now, I'm going to look from a different angle now. Also, just to look across the continent why good corporate governance matter. But I'm going to pull out one story just to show you what is happening in the next 30 years, where Africa is gonna sort of be as we look, because at the moment, Africa is being considered the youngest continent, and for sure it is. The youngest people, the largest percentage in terms of young people is now in Africa. And this changes, this is sort of what I want to sort of show you, right? So let's look at the current population. Africa is currently at 1.4 billion, with 16% of the world. And this number is changing every day, right? 70% of sub-Saharan Africa is age 30. So majority of people in Africa are leaders. They're going to be younger than, actually I was talking to Sonia with Dr. Peter Crow last time. Dr. Peter Crow is also speak on corporate governance. He's also a guest lecturer at UJ. He's based in New Zealand, right? So I was just asking, what do you see about African directors and boards compared to other continents? You speak in New Zealand, in Australia, and also in UK. He said that most boards in Africa, they've got younger people compared to the other continents. Because in Africa, we've got younger people. So you find that the board is going to have people around 40 or so. But if you go to other countries, you find that the board is going to, the age is going to go up to 60, 70 there, right? Also, in terms of medium age in Africa is 19. It's very low, it's a young continent. India is 28, China and the United States is 38. So it goes up, this average age. And also, if these are sort of projection, 2030, Africa will be 20% of the world. It's not as 1 in 5 is from Africa. By 2050, we're going to even go much more as well, looking into the future as well. This is sort of what the changes happen is expected from 2023 to 2050. Africa is going to go up like that, right? And you see South Asia, it's going to go down, Southeast Asia down, Europe, yeah, it's going to be down there as well. So this is sort of the changes that are expected. This map shows the medium age of each country. So the blue, darker blue, it is the younger the age. So you can see Africa, most of it is dark blue, right? But if you go to Europe, Germany, where they say Germany is Europe area, you find that now it's very dark. You can see it's brown. Even Canada is even worse. United States, it's there. If you look at Japan, far right, there's Japan, also dark. In Japan at the moment, the age is so, the country is aged to the point that Japan sells more adult diapers compared to baby diapers. So if you are in Japan, if you are going to make diapers, you rather make for adults, not kids, because kids are very few. That's how bad the situation is. Anyway, I'm saying bad because that's the point that I'm looking. So Africa, it's a young continent. If you look at the figures in terms of the colors that we have here, this just show comparative of African countries, who is going to contribute much. Of course, it's Nigeria, DRC, Ethiopia, South Africa. We are somewhere there in the middle. Yeah, we're going to also contribute there as well. But I think DRC is going to continue to grow faster and faster. You can see it, just surpassing South Africa. Not much change, but DRC, Nigeria, yeah, they're going to sort of change. This is another image which say where the next billion people are going to come from. 50%, more than 50% is going to be from Africa. So this is where the growth is going to come from. And then followed by Asia. And then lastly, North America, Europe, South America, and then there's going to be minor contribution, but the majority is going to be from Africa. And of course, like I mentioned, Nigeria, DRC, Ethiopia are going to be the main driver of this growth of this billion. This also was part in the same report that I was taking this information from. The embassies, these are new embassies being new in Africa, right? Not Africa as well, it's actually across the, okay, yes, embassies in Africa from different countries. So you can see China built 48 embassies from 2012 to 2021. They opened 48 new embassies. Turkey, 26 more embassies. So you can see the trend that is happening in terms of getting into Africa as it is. So there's been a lot of young people in Africa compared to the rest of the continent. Actually, if you go to Eastern Europe, some towns, the population is decreasing, because there are two things as well. Number one, the birth rate is very low, so there are less children being born, but at the same time, people are migrating out to go to better places. So at the end, some towns are actually getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Also, this day, some are calling it a youth quake, which is visible. So African youth are getting involved in music. If you find some of the recent music in the last 2 years, you're going to find that some of the even US music, they have got an African sort of beat. And I know one of the musicians actually sung in African language in one of the music. So you can see the change that we have got, even fashion as well. A lot of the fashion that is abroad there, some designs are done in Africa to just copy the way things look, and then they go there. Politics as well, movies. If you look at movies like the Black Panther, I think we saw that was a blockbuster right from Africa. They could see the potential that is coming out of Africa, and they made a movie just for Africa, and it became a blockbuster. So we are going to see a lot of that direction. Even most movies these days, you look at them, there's going to be a lot of African component coming in, especially South African. I'm now seeing that almost a quite percentage of movies that I see, even on they are called Western movies, but you're going to see part of it was done in Africa somewhere. So that we're going to see it keeping on going into that direction. I cited here British as Talent, a recent show, was it 2023? The one who got it was an African choir from, I think, from Ghana or Uganda. I'm not sure, one of this country. Yeah, I'm not sure about which country. I think is it West Africa? I'm not sure. But can you believe that this is Britain, but the one who got the award was from Africa, which is something that is quite interesting. So in Africa, there's a huge entrepreneur drive and scramble for job and a lot of young people. So we've also seen as well, I think on this same topic, we've seen a lot of people crossing onto Europe. That is not going to stop. It's going to continue. Some will cross illegally, some will cross in the normal legal means. We can see a lot of people, if you go to countries like just lost the name, but a lot of African expertise are going in there. Even if you look at Middle East, so we're going to see a lot of that move going on, because this is their opportunities that are there, and now there are no people who are there, and then that demand is driving people to even do dangerous things to cross to go to those areas. So it's now common to see an African who is a city engineer in Sydney, or it's now common because things are changing. Nigeria aids 5 million people every year. To let me just look at this. So Nigeria aids 5 million people every year. Yeah, by the year 2050, it's expected to overtake United States as the world's third most populous country. So it's quite something. Now, numbers matter, because if you are a lot, that's why China is a superpower. It's the numbers, because if you can have 1 billion people, you've got a bigger voice. Even India as well, it's got a big voice because of the numbers. So numbers makes a difference. And currently, on average, this is now in USA, an average in USA, a Nigerian who is in USA earns a higher salary than an ordinary American. So which means these people are going there. They're not going to do the lesser jobs. Actually, they're professors, they're going into these, they are chartered accountants, and they're going into those positions. And then the local population now, because now when you advertise, there's no one local coming, or the locals that are there are not qualified. Look at Harvard, look at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. How many of the professors are there? You see that it's like when you go there, it's like an international environment. All these professors from different countries who are coming there. Young Africans are getting better educated and more connected than ever. So it's because we are getting now exposed because of the internet, so we can access the same education that is being accessed in, let's say in Switzerland. You can just access the same education right when you are based in Toyondo, which is quite something. You used to travel to go there and get but now you do it in your own home, in your village, and you get the same education there. And that is changing how things work, because now you've got the same qualification that someone who is out there. Recently, again, this is the last bullet. I saw this guy online. He's a board member of UBS in Poland, right? And this guy is from Africa, actually black. He never went to an education, overseas. He only went overseas, going to Poland, to start. He was doing IT and finance, not studying. He'd already qualified, right? So you're going to work and then eventually he rose, and now he's in a board of a bank in Poland. And that drive is going to continue as well. In this image, these are kids who are playing the violin. It's considered as a prestigious whatever instrument, but these kids are playing in Kenya, in the slums in Kenya. Is it Kabero? Yeah, the name is sounds like Kabero. Yes. So the question is, where are these children going to play this violin once they've finished? So that can tell you what's going to happen. They're not going to play where they are. They're going to go somewhere. So this is how Africa is changing things around. I think we've seen the Israeli court case by South Africa. It also shows that Africa can say things, and then those things can also make a sense. So Africa is demanding a greater voice in the UN, in the world, all over. I think this picture, this is not in Africa at all. So there is a change that is coming and from Africa, and it's tied to the population that is young, that is growing, and that is competent. So that is changing the dynamics. So just to summarize this, there's of course the high birth rate, there's better healthcare, there's also the issue of urbanization, people going to urban area, and then from there on they get exposed. And I think if you see since COVID, we've seen a lot of people working on overseas companies who are working from home in Africa. In your own village, just get your connection, and you can do all your IT work for a company that is based in USA. And now they are seeing that it makes sense, because you don't have to relocate. You can still work where you are, and you can still do the work. So there's better connectivity, access to opportunities, economic opportunities, also technological impact, consumption. So these are some of the things that are shaping our future. So now, this is why we need good corporate governance, because these young people who are coming up, they need direction. Remember, as a continent, we've got a bad history. Our fathers didn't do a good job. That is a fact. Our fathers did, I don't know, things that are unbelievable. They really messed up. But we need now to correct that using the next generation. So we need leaders who are there to advise, to mentor the young peoples who are coming, so that we grow a better continent. So Africa needs good corporate governance. Africa needs better leaders than the previous generations who were just, squandering the resources for whatever. No, we need now people who can now make a difference. And this is why good corporate governance matter for the continent, right? So now that we've set the tone in terms of why we need good corporate governance, now let's look into the concept of corporate governance. What is it, and how does it work, right? Corporate governance was not there as it is from the beginning. It evolved, but it was during the Industrial Revolution where there was a big change that came because during Industrial Revolution, this is where worldwide there was a change from one man business to corporates. So before then, the Industrial Revolution, we didn't have machines a lot. So we are going to, for example, if you're making shoes, it was Taka and Sons, kind of operation. That's the best that we could do, myself and the kids. And then we make shoes. We will use our hammers and so forth. And probably we'll make, I'm not sure how many shoes you can make a day. Maybe let's say per week, we make 50 shoes, and we were happy with that. We sell the shoes. But now when machines come, we found that you can actually make 100 shoes in one day. That changes everything because now you're just making 50 the whole week. But now, if you can do 100 in one day, you can make more. But now, in order to access this machine, it costed a lot of money. So that now we had to look for people to invest, their money to bring the machines so that we can use the machines and then we can share the profits. So this is where the idea of incorporated enterprises come into being. Now, with the need for capital to expand and improve our production, there we needed to incorporate because now the provider of capital, they wanted to understand what's going to be happening, in this organization. Once we give our money, you buy the machine, we want to be involved in the organization as you produce. So there, you have to set up an entity and then do agreement and also make sure there's the reports that are provided. So this is where corporate governance sort of grow into being. Now, in terms of corporate governance, so probably this is where the board and advisors, whatever, started to come in, where they want to know what's happening in the organization. So the view in terms of corporate governance, there's a traditional view which you find in most textbooks that corporate governance, says companies exist to maximize shareholder wealth, which is traditionally how we looked at it. But now we are moving to stakeholder inclusivity. This is where King 5, even ISO 37000, where we are saying that we don't just pay attention to providers of capital, but we need to include all the stakeholders on the table to understand their needs and then what are the expectations, and then we also consider them as well. So there has been a change in terms of corporate governance. In this list, I've just listed the types of businesses in South African context. So what are the different types of business or companies that are there? So the first one, the sole trader, we know that. I think it's generally understood. You just yourself, you just start your business and then you trade using your own name, and then you just and that the liability is not limited. So if you get into trouble in terms of financial, your personal property can also be taken on. Then you can also do partnerships. It's also happen here and there where you need someone to join together, but still you are not incorporated. So the liability also is unlimited. You can use your personal possessions. And then we've got what we call closed corporates. So CCs, these were stopped by the South African Company Act in 2008. So these you can't register anymore. But if you one existed, you can still call yourself CC, but you are no longer a CC. You are basically a private company, right? So we have got a number of private companies, right? Sorry, a number of companies. The first is private company. So that when it says it's very clear, it's a private person. You go and you can open your company and you register your company. You can be on your own with others, whichever that you prefer. We also have non-profit companies. So these are companies, they are registered almost like private, but their aim is not to make a profit. So they are going to be involved in non-profit activities, but it's a registered company. We also have external companies. So external companies are companies that like Google, Facebook, that are outside South Africa, which are coming to operate in South Africa. We also have personal liability companies. These are becoming less and less. So these companies are like our dentists, even some engineers. So they've got a personal as well. So it's personal liability, sort of where it's a bit incorporated, but also it's also they also use their also personal liability, like you work from home, but you also register. So, but these are no longer sort of people don't use this. They rather do a private company instead of having a personal liability company. Then state-owned companies, these are companies owned by an organ of state or by state. So this is by national government or local government owned companies. Then we also have what we call public companies. Public companies are companies, they are basically private companies which can be owned by anyone. So anyone can own the company. So in other words, the share is traded either on a stock exchange or in certain areas, but anyone can go and buy shares and you can own it. Unlike a private company, you don't just approach and say, you want to buy your, no, they won't, they may not allow it. But public companies, these are listed entities and some of them are not listed. Anyone can just go and buy the shares. There are other entities as well, for example, like a trust. A trust is also an organization, but the uniqueness of a trust is not owned by anyone. A trust is owned by the trust. That's how it works. So it's quite different. Unlike a private company where it's got shareholders, in a trust, there are no shareholders because a trust is owned by the trust. But you need to have a deed of trust. It has got beneficiaries where people benefit from it, and there's a board of trustee that runs the trust. So there are no shareholders per se. And then we also have cooperatives. Cooperatives, I think this is quite, yeah, a lot of people talk about cooperatives. Some of them, rather majority, don't do very well because this is where a group of people just come together for a certain reason. Then you just put your resources together, you register your organization, you put a constitution, and you start to do whatever you are doing. Most of them, they don't really do well. But in South Africa, I've seen successful cooperatives in farming communities where they got these big farmers. Let's say you want a combined harvester, but you kind of, if you buy it on your own, you won't use it, a lot. And then you just come together and say, no, the 6 or 10 farmers, let's buy 2 combined harvesters, and then we just, circulate, and we just circulate to harvest our crops. And then, so those cooperatives work very well because, but yeah, some cooperatives, they don't work well. But we also have Stokvels as well, which are in a way cooperatives. So a Stokvel, just for the sake of those who don't know, a Stokvel, it's like you put money together. It's a savings scheme in a way. So throughout the year, you put money for a certain purpose. Sometimes at the end, most of the Stokvels, they share the money at the end of the year, for Christmas and so forth. But some of the Stokvels, they actually put the money every month and they start to invest in property or whatever they want to invest in. We also have common law associations. So common law associations are basically like our neighborhood watch or any special interest group where you've got an interest, you come together, you put down your constitution that says how the governance is going to work, who's going to be your treasurer, whatever. Then you go to the bank, you can open a bank account and you start to do whatever business that you want to do. You're not registered with companies as such. Those are common law associations. And then I think the last three bullets, I'm not going to cover that. We'll cover that later on. So these are the type of entities that you'll find in South Africa. Now, let's go back now to corporate governance. What is it? Now, King 1, the first king, it says that corporate governance is a system by which a company or organization is directed and controlled. So this definition, you find it in most dictionaries and most books. It's a generally accepted definition of corporate governance. But now in King 5, or even King 4 as well, whichever that you want to use, corporate governance is defined as the exercise of ethical and effective leadership by the governing body towards the realization of the following governance outcomes for the organization within its economic, social, and environmental context. So here, King 5 sort of boosts the definition because now King 5 is saying corporate governance is the ethical, it's now putting ethics in it. and also effective as well, because you don't just go in a board and just goof around and then you're not doing your job. You need to be effective, So that is the definition from King. And now it also included the outcome in its definition. So outcome is ethical culture in the organization. Good performance, I like to use the word good because that was there in King 4. Good performance and value creation. So in other words, as a governing body, the board, you need to create value for the organization. And then conformance and prudent control. I like the word prudent because we need to be prudent, not to be careless in terms of how we run the organization. And finally, legitimacy as well. So this is the definition of corporate governance that is used by King 5, right? We talked about the governance outcomes. Again, it's ethical culture. So in other words, we'll cover this later on. We're going to focus a lot on ethics as well. So the idea is to create an ethical culture in the organization. Performance and value creation. So the board is also responsible to ensure that the organization is performing well and you are creating value, at the end of the day. You are growing, basically. That's what we want to see. And then conformance and prudent control. There's control. There is no recklessness and things that are all over. Things are in control, and also legitimacy as well of the organization. So these are the outcomes, but we'll look at this as we go in. Now, the question that people ask is that, what is now ethical and effective leadership that you've talked about? So this is a word that is there, the words that are there in King 5, even King 4 also had this. The characteristic of ethical and effective leadership involves integrity, competence, responsibility, accountability, fairness, and transparent. So the acronym for this is ICRAFT, so we need to be ICRAFT leadership. So when we say integrity, you need to say what you say is what it is. You don't say one thing and then you do the other. No, what you say, this is what it is, and there is nothing else besides what it is. So integrity, and that is required of board members to be competent. So as a board member, you need to be competent, to be skilled. Actually, chapter, I think section 57, we'll cover it a bit later. It says that you must be competent. So if there's an issue in an organization, as a board, you are taken to court and they find that you don't have the competence, it's your fault and it's illegal not to be competent. You must be competent in terms of you have the skills that are required of a director. So you need to be competent. Also, responsibility, you must have that responsibility in terms of the organization, accountable as well. You must be accountable as a board. Fairness. So this is now judgment. You need to be fair, because you are someone who is held as a person of high, I don't know what to say. My English is, I'm running out of words. High regard in the society or wherever you are expected to be fair, to give a fair judgment, and you're going to see as we go, we are going to include the idea of independent judgment. I'm going to repeat that again. You need to be fair, which reminds me, last year and this year I was invited to do where a director was being removed. So I was involved as an independent a person to sort of facilitate the process. There they want your fairness, not to be to be fair in terms of the way you execute your duties. You are required of that. Also to be transparent, to be open about what you do. No hidden corners, is what we are seeing now in this commission, where things are coming out. You wonder, all these things were hidden. You are supposed to be transparent. So what it means by transparent, I'm going to give an example. A few years back, was going for an interview with the World Bank for the whatever directorship. So one of the questions, he was very sensitive, the guy, because he didn't know, how to say this. He said that, you know what, do you know, Ms. Sande, that we are going to investigate you just to, make sure that we do a due diligence on you. So he was sort of not comfortable in saying it because I think from his experience, people don't want, you know, some people will say that no, I don't know, you don't have to. For me, I say no, you are welcome. You can investigate anything, because I've got nothing that I'm hiding or whatever. So they're welcome to investigate and find out whatever they find out. But whatever they'll find out is just like that. So you need to be transparent, not to have things that you're hiding and so forth. Being transparent does not mean that you put your financials on Facebook. That's not being foolish. Being transparent is when it is required of you. You are ready to disclose. You can disclose with no fear, so that is transparent. In an organization, good corporate governance also come with benefits. So these are some of the benefits of good corporate governance by an organization. For example, increase organizational value, improve share value and credit rating, because you're not involved in scandals anyway. So that is good for you. Lower the cost of capital, improve your access to capital. So if you want to borrow, it brings credibility on you, improves operational performance, lowers the risk of damage to reputation, improve decision making because of good corporate governance. The decisions that you make, these are the good decisions. Greater boardroom effectiveness, avoid concentration of power. So you find that it's quite a balanced organization. Strengthens transparency as well as an organization. So these are some of the benefits of good corporate governance. Now, let me just talk around the King 5 report, because I will be citing it a lot as we go. So the King 5 report, it was released this year, so it's a fresh document. This is the image of the front cover. If you want, I can give you the link to access the King 5 report. It's called the King 5 report on corporate governance. Just to maybe let's just go a bit of a background again. The first King was released in 1994, just when South Africa was coming into democracy. So just to give a bit of also background as well, it was Nelson Mandela, when democracy was coming towards election, he spoke to Professor Maverick King. He was a professor involved with the, I think, United Nations by then in terms of corporate governance. And the issue was, we are going into democracy. People might be taken for a ride, by the rich people who take over. So that was the sort of fear that was there also, but other world trends as well. Because if you look in the 80s, there was a lot of scandals, Enron and worldwide, where things were happening that were very bad. So Nelson Mandela made a call to Maverick King. So can you create this thing, this governance guideline or framework that we can use, once we are on the other side? And then, but at that same time, when Nelson Mandela was making that call, UK was in the process of creating that report. I also believe that's where the idea came from, because UK was doing it, and Nelson Mandela said, no, can you also do something like that? So our King report, some people say, no, it was the first corporate governance report, because the UK report was only covering, it was only covering finance. Yeah, I think it was finance only, right? So, but it was released first, then ours come, then UK later revised there to incorporate governance as well. So some people say, no, South Africa was the first country. It's more debatable, but this is sort of how it happened. So this is where the first King report was released in terms of a governance framework. And then from there on, the countries started to also follow the same route. So when other countries make their own corporate governance code, they look at the UK, the Canterbury report, and the South African King report. So they use that as a basis to sort of start the conversation going on and reference, etc. So it was something that South Africa was proud of and was still proud with. So that is where the background is. And then from there onwards, it was updated a number of times, but now we now have King 5, which is the 5th version of the code. And back then, when it was released, like King, the first King, it was actually used by most African countries, and not just African, even other countries as well, because they didn't have anything. So they just use it. But now with time, other countries now start to develop their own, and it's more like now focused mostly in South Africa and maybe a few countries as well. So King report is outcome-based governance. I think you saw that we say the outcomes of good governance, and then we so it's outcome-based, and also we focus on ethical and effective leadership. King 5, we've included regenerative governance and value creation. So those are the elements that are there. We'll look at this, I think, later on. Also, King 5, we've got disclosure and accountability in terms of apply and explain principle. Talk about it, all this later on. There's also a strong view in terms of technology governance and also stakeholders. So those are things that are now strong in King 5. King 5 has got 3 principles that are there, and it's a guide for best practice. It's not law, right? So you are not compelled by law to use it. But remember, it's aligned with the Companies Act as well. So it's aligned as well. If you are reading King 5, if you see the word must, it means it's a legal requirement. And if you see may, it means it's a recommendation. You know, for example, the governing body may do this. It's a recommendation. If you see the word should, it means it's a strong recommendation. So this is sort of the sense that comes with the King report, right? So this is just to show the first page of the King report. And I think let's sort of stop here for today. I'm not sure if there are any questions before we stop for the day. Any questions or comments?
Oh, Mr. Taka.
Yes.
I have maybe one question. I have really enjoyed the class for today, if I must say. I'm trying to relate, starting from the stories of the bad governance happening around South Africa. And I was also quite trying to relate to what is happening here in Uganda, seeing from the recent reshuffle that happened in there's one organization who is in charge of distributing electricity in the country.
Yes.
Recently, they took over from a private company at a very FT cost, of course, and it's taxpayers' money, of course, going to into that, getting the company and bringing in the new government organization who is now currently running the show. But recently, we saw the entire top management and the board shuffled, whereby the chairman of the board was fired, and also the CEO was sent on a forced leave. Of course, the details to that story has not yet come out, but we can already tell from what is happening and from the stories you've shared with us today, they're looking at moving from where they are towards a better framework or approach to the corporate governance. And also, I liked these King 5. As we were talking about it, I was also Googling it. And I think I found a PDF. I think it is free to access. And I quite of related to it because I saw it from the Institute of Directors of South Africa. And I was also wondering whether we do have this institute within Uganda. So maybe you'll do some research and you inform me whether this is present. And if we don't have one, whether it is something South Africa could see. Maybe, I don't know how they put one into another country, but maybe this is something we can see in the future. We can benchmark from South Africa. They've been doing this before, and also maybe we can have these organizations, all these professional bodies coming also to Uganda, because I saw these with ACIR, that is the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. I've been part of that community for quite some time, but during that time, we didn't have a chapter within our country. And until recently, I saw there was a chapter that was brought in. So I think this is also something maybe you could help me do some research and maybe we can explore in the future. So thank you so much for today's presentation. It was quite informative. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bosco, for that. Just for your own information, last week on Monday and Tuesday, I was in Cape Town. I was speaking on a conference. And what surprised me on that, it's Cape Town, where about 50 attendants were there. More than half were not from South Africa. So they were from Uganda. There's a number of people from Uganda, from other countries. So there's this shift, I think I can, in terms of governance, people really want to, do what is right. And I will be happy to assist you in terms of that, to see if there are organizations like the Institute of Directors in Uganda, but some of the countries like Namibia, I know, engage with some of the guys there. Zimbabwe, I know, I'm also involved as well. I also train in Zimbabwe. Lesotho, last few years back, they are also active there. So it would be a good idea to also have such an institution as well. Thanks for that, Bosco. All right. Any other comments before we close for the day? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I think we are going to end here today. Please, we are going to remember where we are ending. When we meet next time, we're going to continue from here as we go forward. Thank you so much for attending this session. It's being recorded, so I'm going to send you the slides and also the recording as well. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the evening.
All good. Thank you, Taka. Thank you, colleagues. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.